Bet you weren't expecting to see me. How you doing? How you doing? I'm in the mood to talk before I do my movie stream tonight on my other channel. So I figured I have a few hours. I'll give you guys a few hours before I hop over to the other channel to stream, talk about a movie. Until then, I'm around. I got no plans. I got no plans. Hey, this is the great off script thing. So if you guys, if anybody shows up and they just want to chat about whatever they can, no rules tonight, nothing like that. I don't know if anybody will show up. I mean, I put this together 5 minutes ago. Just at last second, I said, "Oh, you want to know what? I'll do this. I'll go ahead. I don't care. I don't care." Welcome to the Condor DM show. We just got to appropriately do that. This is an off script. Off script just means I sit down. Usually it's Tuesday nights, but I've been, occasionally now. I think when I have a bit of time before other streams, you might see these pop up, right? They're a little convenient. Sorry if you hear any background noise in life. It's a little early in the day. It's before. It's a few minutes to 6 p.m. my time. I'm in a good mood. And since I'm in a good mood, here I am. I'm in a good mood and just nobody's around. There's nobody around in life. People I talk to, not around. All this, I got a few hours to kill. I got everything done in life that I needed to get done before my stream at 8 o'clock. I'll be covering a movie, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the conspiracy around that. And yeah, it's going to be fun. But we'll see. We'll see. I can keep talking even if nobody shows up and people watch this later. They'll be like, well, he started. I can just do that. I put this together in 5 minutes and turn this on, and I had no plans. And I'm like a game master. I can improvise. Right? Just put me on here and I can start talking, and something will come to my mind. I guarantee it. I will bring up something and try to make this slightly interesting. Slightly. But here I am. If anybody sees this, they'll show up. If not, just be me talking to myself for an hour. It could take a few minutes before somebody shows up. I literally put this together 5 minutes before I said live. I'm just like that. I'm crazy. I am a crazy. I am a bit of a psycho. I covered Mysteria last night for old school D&D. Very happy with how that went. People seem to be quite happy with that stream. So I was happy with it. Mysteria. Right? Just randomly chatting. So if hate watchers come by, I don't know. There's no topic here. I put this together 5 minutes ago. I just said, screw it. I got a couple hours before my movie stream tonight, which will be on my... Now, I have another YouTube channel. It's for entertainment. I do entertainment videos and I don't know if you want to call it review movies, but talk about movies. My first stream on there, because I just started that channel or switched it over. It was a backup channel. I switched it over to this entertainment channel. My first stream was covering Clockwork Orange. Man, that was... Now, I'll be real with you. I'm a lot more open about dialogue over there. It's meant to be casual. It's meant to be where I let loose. We talked about Clockwork Orange and conspiracy around that. And, I don't have the same rules on myself over there as I do here. Right? Here, it's I look at this like a tabletop role-playing table. When I come to the table, I leave certain things at the door. I got to warn people, though, if you go over to my other channel and you check out where I'm covering a movie, if we're in the conspiracy area, I'm not going to hold back on certain things. Now, it doesn't mean I just focus overly on one thing, but if a movie really goes in that direction, say, I don't know, towards politics or whatever, because movies do that, they inspire conversations, I'll say a bit. Stuff I definitely wouldn't say here. Stuff I definitely would not say here. But it's not controversial. Like as far as I don't talk about it, like I don't talk about other YouTubers. It's all entertainment over on the other channel. But I get a few hours, so like I said, 5 minutes ago, I put this together and just said, screw it. I get a couple hours to kill. I'll kill them here. And if people want to randomly pop by and chat, they can. We'll go from there. Just casual. It's like, what do you plan to talk about tonight here? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Like I wasn't even sure if I would do this. I just said, you know what? I got nobody's around, nothing to do. I get all my work done. I get a couple hours to kill. I mean, I could veg out and look at things, but I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. Screw it. I'll just go on here. I'll go on here because I'm not shy. I'll just start this and press live. I put this together in like a couple minutes and it just went live. And here we are, off script. So if somebody wants to say hi, they can. If not, there's no rules on this stream. I left the chat open. So this is one of those nights where even if you're not subbed, like it's usually you have to be subbed to talk here. If you're new, doors open for tonight. You don't get a sub first. You can actually say hi. Just say on these sort of random off-script streams, I will purposely leave the door open as opportunities for people. We'll call it opportunities to chat with me, right? But to chat on most of my planned streams, you have to be subbed. You have to be supporting me that way. But we'll count streams like this as sort of like a, hey, doors open to attract you. So if you want to have your opportunity, just say hi now. It's up to you, though. It's up to you. Just a reminder, I am covering, like I said, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the conspiracy around that. Again, when I say I cover movies, I don't want to call it reviewing them. Right? It's not like a review, like, do I think they're good or bad? It's like I'm just covering movies I actually think, I guess, are okay. Like, I'm not going to cover movies I don't like to a certain degree, unless somebody asks me. Mainly I like to cover movies I like. So, and it's not so much just a review. It's talking about like the history of it, how it came to be, the fluff. And it's on the other channel. And then I go into like conspiracy or any stories around the movie that are interesting to talk about and just create a conversation from talking about it. Because I know a lot of people, here I talk about a lot of gaming people might not know of, and I'm going to be educating people and telling them new things. So they're going to listen. And then if you don't know much about something I'm talking about here, about a game, you might not have much to say. You just want to listen and I'll entertain you. Though a lot of people watch movies, so that to me there is more of a conversational thing happening on the other channel. That I do videos, like I did a video on the He-Man movie, right? Because it bombed. Like it bombed compared to what was expected of it, right? It bombed. And man, there's one guy who left a couple comments on there very strongly. Feels very strongly about the He-Man movie. He went detail to detail. I just I look at it like when it comes to movies, people are very touchy. And it's just not the same. They're not open-minded. Like if you slightly step over the line with a movie now, you have to reassure the audience that whatever they might think is not true. Because if they even think it, they're not showing up for it. That's it. If there's even a hint of something they don't like in there, nope, turn the other corner. And you might say, well, you shouldn't be bothered if a character is changed or they put a person of a different race in. I don't think that's really the issue. We've had a past of that happening. I don't think it's an overkill of doing that. It's like doing something too much. And some people get way more picky if you're always doing the thing. So what can be an okay, acceptable, reasonable thing becomes an unreasonable thing when you do it all the time. Because every time you're putting out a new movie or a new show, it's we got to change that character for whatever reason, right? People get way more picky. But I don't want to have movie talk here. That's not the point. Where we can talk games or just random talk. And this is an exception. Usually, again, you have to be sub to chat with me, but tonight the door is open for anyone. I'll call these. I should retitle it like random off script, because that's what it is. I have a planned off script night every Tuesday, but I like doing this where it's like members only night. I if I have the time, especially to appease the more open audience that aren't members, I don't mind the idea of doing an hour or two with them before jumping into the coverage, say for members only, right? Just to make people happy. But I'm not bothered by doing members only. I hear people are so picky over these things. Like, I don't know. Look, I do on average, if you look at it, the way I do streams is I do 16 a month 16 a month that are completely open to the public, as long as you have subbed to the channel, right? You can either watch, but if you sub, you can chat on them. That's 16, right? And then I had these, I've done a couple random now, so that's like this month would be like 18 open to the public. And I do two additional streams for members. I usually have to do them at night because work and what I do in life to get by is like early day. So early day, I get my life done. I work right now. It's a little pause on work because a little bit of healing time, right? And I'll be doing some work from home, so that's a bit different. But yeah, this this slowed me down, so I have to recover a bit of a muscle. And they want me off. They don't want me doing sort of strenuous stuff for a few weeks. So here I am, a lot of home time at the moment. But early days, like my work and that, and then it's usually at night I can do it at a decent time. And if I get done at the right time, my schedule works. But that means I keep myself very busy with this whole YouTube thing, right? You know, I figured after so many years on YouTube, I wanted to give it a serious go, like a serious try. Like I've sort of been flaky about YouTube over the years. Like always done good content, I think, but it's like flaky in my approach. And even with the new algorithm stuff, I didn't really understand the algorithm when they started pushing that. I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to take this all serious this year in 2026, and I'm going to learn this algorithm thing. And I feel like I have. I feel bad for some guys out there. They'll have bigger channels, but they'll have a hard time getting views in that. Sometimes in certain videos or certain content, they'll get really upset and they're like, YouTube is screwing me. And I'm like, they'll be like, well, YouTube doesn't like this good video, but it's like it's going to promote this junk. And I'm like, actually, YouTube is cutting junk off. They don't mind a good video being promoted about games. Like, trust me, your good video about games is not going to be something they want to shadow ban or hold back. There's something about the algorithm certain people don't know, and they'll have like a big channel. And they're wondering why this video is not hitting, and I'm like, dude, some people I wish I had a better relationship with because I give them the heads up. But I think I pretty much know what their issue is. It's not YouTube holding it back. YouTube is look, I would say this when it comes to certain topics like politics and that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to make excuses. YouTube does some odd things. But when we're talking about games, trust me, if you have good content, YouTube does not purposely want to hold down your video or your stream. It's not what you think. It's not what you think. And I just don't want to give what I know about the algorithm out there just casually. It's like, it took me a while to learn it. And I watch videos of people talking about like understanding the YouTube algorithm. And I realize now, after learning really what it is, most people are sort of BSing in their videos. So you can go think you're getting good advice, and it's not completely bad, but it's not like they're not giving you the whole thing. They'll always be like, hey, come and get stuff from me, come and do this. In some cases, I swear I've seen some videos where people think they know the algorithm and they don't. And because of that, they can their advice is just not going to help you out. where I can pretty much guarantee what I know now is solid. So when I hear people out there saying, somebody, YouTube is holding my video down, I'm like, not for a tabletop role-playing game content, dude. It's not. It really isn't. Just isn't. And even if you get like an AI response on X, don't worry. It's really not. There's just something you don't know, right? It'd be nice to be able to help you, but there are so many people I have qualms with, so I don't talk to them, which is a shame, but it is what it is, right? Because if I had a better relationship with more people, I'd help them out with the YouTube thing, because it's definitely improved me a bit. But I take some time. Like, I purposely don't go after certain things. So you might say, well, how are you doing? Much better with the algorithm. I'm like, well, I purposely know there's other aspects outside the algorithm that helps you. It's not just the algorithm that you played the game. It's other things that can help you out too. So sometimes you see people doing good. I guarantee it's not always the algorithm pushing them to do good. There's reasons people are looking for certain things. So even if the algorithm isn't sending stuff their way, they're looking for it anyway. Right. So there's a mix of what people are doing and the algorithm. So knowing the algorithm doesn't guarantee you like you shoot up with high numbers, but you can start doing a little bit more consistently good. Right. No, there's not, well, fair enough, Philo. There's not much that you missed. It's just casual. But if you want to, it's not much. Not much to catch up on. But yeah, the algorithm is something, once you know it, it helps me out a bit, but there's other things I don't do on purpose. So what I realized is the way I do content is it just takes a while, even if I know the algorithm, to play a certain game and hit a certain peak. But I have learned once you hit a certain peak and you build up a certain number and credibility, you can start going up. But you got to be really careful, because even if you're playing the algorithm, it's what do you say in your videos? Like, I know I can sabotage myself depending on what I say. And even if the audience isn't completely shallow, there's some things, even the general audience doesn't want to hear. So you can hurt yourself with that stuff. And there's cheap gimmicks I refuse to do. So sometimes when you see people boosting up, it's not just the algorithm giving them numbers and giving them things. It's people are looking. So it's a mix of things. Don't think the algorithm is the end all, right? Be all type of thing, right? It's one tool, and then there's other aspects you can do. If you don't do certain aspects, well, then you're stuck in the middle. In the middle, if you don't got like a big name, like a celebrity name, it could take you a while to build up. But if you hit a certain peak, you skyrocket pretty fast. You can go after certain types of content which just have a smaller ceiling. I won't say anything negative about that, but just say, because I've said enough before, there's a lot of what you call like smaller bits of the audience. So there's the general bigger audience, and then there's smaller audiences that will rapidly build you up, but you hit a ceiling. That's the issue with them, right? It can seem really nice. You rapidly grow. They're going to look for the content, so you don't need the algorithm actually helping you all that much, getting them coming to you. They'll purposely look for stuff, but what happens is you hit a ceiling. And if you only go after that, if you keep chasing that audience, when you hit the ceiling, there's just not many people left to chase. Right. So you'd be like wondering, why am I not growing? Why is this not happening? Now, when you get to certain big channels, you see sometimes their videos will go pump. Well, the reason they've done so well is they have chased a certain audience. Right. It's not that they've actually played the algorithm that well. Talking just randomly, openly for a couple hours before I do my movie stuff tonight on the other channel, the Willy Wonka movie chocolate factory thing. That will be at like 8 o'clock. I just figured I had a couple hours, and I put this together like 15 minutes ago or something like that. 15, 20 minutes ago now. Just said, screw it, I'll jump on and do a random off script. I'm bored. Nobody's around. I could have vegged out. I had everything done today. Really ahead of myself on my work, on everything I wanted to do. I was like, I could veg out for a little while and then go on and talk about the movie, or jump on here with no plans of a topic and just randomly be open to talk to people. That's it. I only talk about this YouTube thing because I seen a guy that there's a part of me that some people out there don't like me, or they hate me, or they've done some rotten things to me. It doesn't mean I completely hate them. I'm not the person people think I am. So even when I have people that don't like me, I can feel bad for what they're going through if I hear about it. And you'd be like, how can you feel bad for that guy? That guy's done some rotten things to you, like, well, it's just I'm not the person people paint me as. So regardless to somebody doing something rotten to me, I can feel bad for what they're going through, because I'm really not the bad person people think I am. Some people think I am. So there's some people out there that don't like me, but over the years, before all this, crap happened with me, so I've liked their content, and then I see them having trouble on YouTube, and I know their issue. I actually know their problem, right? And when I talk about this stuff on YouTube, about the ceiling stuff, it's not really just to insult people. It's just to say, if anybody else does it, you should know. Yeah, Black Rose, killing a little while before I do the Willy Wonka movie coverage. I hope you hop over for a bit of that, man. That's going to be a good talk. I got that all planned. It's not like it's going to be like we did with the Clockwork Orange. So in a little while, I'll jump over to that, right? I won't wait till 8 o'clock, but I'll be here for a little while, just open talking to people. But yeah, we'll talk about that. Yeah. But I really do think you should look more into Mordhand. Everything about it is free now. Oh, definitely. Definitely. Didn't know about the free part. That makes it way more interesting. Mm-hmm. No, like I said, even though some people have had clashes with me, they think I'm an awful person, but I'm not really that bad. I've been hearing about this one guy, and I know his issues, and I'm like, part of me, I hear it like whining, like crying about YouTube. It's like, dude, I wish I could tell you. I wish I could tell you, because I'm not jealous. I don't care if somebody already has a bigger channel than me, or if they keep doing well. To me, that's not the gimmick, because if I understand how YouTube works, here's the reason I would never be jealous. If somebody around, say, the tabletop role-playing game hobby, around certain areas where I'm at, if they do better, that draws more people in. And the great thing is, when you draw more people in, they don't just stick to one channel. They'll check out other people. That's why you should never be jealous of another YouTuber doing well, because them doing well usually attracts more people. Those more people come to you as well, right? So when you get someone who has talent or something for YouTube and they're in your circle, you should not be afraid to push them up. That's why I talk about flatline YouTubers. You don't really want to help out a guy who's not really going to do much with the help. Like, you've grown him, but he really can't draw a new audience, and he's just leeching off you. That's what I call flatliner YouTubers, right? Certainly we'll be on for part of it, at least. I'm mostly listening. Haven't watched any of the versions. Please don't drone my host. You haven't watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate? I'll definitely inform you. It will be interesting. If you haven't really watched it, that should actually make it a little better. At least the opening fluff, for sure, right? That's crazy, though. Is that a Norway thing? Lacking in watching Willy. And I'm not talking about the new Willy Wonka thing. I won't be talking about the modern Willy Wonka. I'm talking about the old one, and a certain movie that extends out to. So I'll give you a heads up. The Snowpiercer. I don't want to say much about that, because it's a very popular YouTube theory. It's like a YouTube theory that this movie called Snowpiercer it's not official. It's not like somebody has come out and said it is part 2. But when you look at it, it's like, wow, like the theory really is so strong. It makes me believe it might actually be exactly what the theory says it is, right? So I think it's very credible. And then I got some other conspiracies around the movie too, which are quite interesting. I hear you. I hear you. Uh, here's the thing. It's not like even I watch a lot of things too either. I watch Willy Wonka, just happen to watch it with my family. I seen it with my family. And then it's on like every Christmas and stuff like that. Like it's on holidays, so you see it here and there. It's one of these things where it's not like it's like I plan to watch it. I just did. The Snowpiercer. After seeing the theory, I went and watched most of it. Which I mean, the theory really covers it well. It's almost like you can get away with not watching it if you watched a whole YouTube theory on it, right? But it's so interesting. I made all the notes from the theory thing, just going, wow, that's interesting. That's so interesting. And I know there's a lot of people out there, ironically, that don't know about the Snowpiercer thing, even though it's quite popular. So I'm like, that's interesting to talk about. I just like talking about movies and conspiracies and theories. And so we'll talk about theories and conspiracies around Willy Wonka later. Though, that's the one thing, like YouTube, I don't get why people ever get jealous. I don't understand. I've been around YouTube for over 10 years. And the one thing I know from talking to other YouTubers and other circles of content, they say right away, don't get jealous of another YouTuber who comes in who might be doing better than you or have more talent or something. I said, well, okay, so tell me why. Why wouldn't that bother you if somebody's just better than you? Say you have an ego, right? But he's like, he's the guy I've talked to about it, who really well informed me on this. He's like, ego or not, if that guy comes into my circle and does better, and I allow him, I actually assist him. He's actually going to perform well if we get him up with higher numbers. He'll bring more people to the audience. And he, like he said, it's when you bring more people to the audience, those people just don't stay with him. They'll check me out and other people doing similar content. So it's like when you bring people in, talented people around your circle of content, like you want to jack them up right away. He said what you don't want to do, and the term he used to describe it is, he's like, you don't want to bring in flatline YouTubers, which are guys that really on their own they can't grow a big channel, but if they grow off of you, like say leeching to your content, to your streams, the problem is they just leech. They only get your audience, and they're really not capable of performing to the larger audience. So they'll flatline. That means even if they get bigger, they still don't draw new people, right? So it doesn't matter if you help them build up or not. I guess it could, like he said it might help them out in minor ways, right? But it doesn't help the overall community that you're in, like, or where you're doing content. So he said, like, if you notice people that have more talent than you, shine them up. Don't get jealous, because they bring more people to the community area, right? Never get jealous of a guy who has more talent. Just don't bother. It's strategy wise on YouTube, it's not good for you. Be okay with your section having talented people, skilled people, people that are good at doing this stuff, and make sure you shine those people up. Don't accidentally shine up flatliners that do nothing. Shine up the guys with talent, because guys with talent will bring more people to your community. And that's how you grow your audience for everybody overall. That's how everybody benefits. So when you work in a community of content creators doing similar content, what you want to do is really look at who's most talented in your circle, and don't look for reasons to get jealous of them or anything. That's no good for YouTube. Shine those people up, especially because those people will keep building up the numbers for everyone. So everyone grows when your most talented people, when the most talented people are shining, doing content around you. And that's just, he said, that's just the plain truth. Don't bother getting jealous. But he said, like, there's these flatline, he calls it, the way he describes it, just flatline YouTubers, which makes sense to me. It's like, imagine a guy who's having a hard time getting up to 500, and he's not that exciting on streams, and he's not really doing much. Even if he starts talking to you and you get him up to 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000, or say he plays to a shallow part of the audience, he does the gimmicks, like he talks and says exactly what a certain small audience wants to hear. They can shine him up. They can go in, sub to his channel. The problem is he's not that entertaining. So they'll get bored of going back to his streams. So even though he's saying what they want to hear in the sub, he's not doing much beyond that. Right. So it's he'll kill his own stream. He just won't be that entertaining, even if he says what you want to hear. Right. So it's you got to watch out for what they call flatline YouTubers. There's nothing wrong with guys. Like he said, there's nothing wrong with guys building up and leeching a bit, but he said that you should never let them in because, well, you're not jealous of them, right? They don't seem to challenge you as a YouTuber. They don't seem to make you worry. You're better than that guy, so he can leech off you. He should be shined up. It just doesn't help the community to let that guy be one of the only guys shined up, right? So I've learned that over the years now. Just I don't, the whole idea of being jealous of other people, like I don't care if somebody has a smaller account than me right now goes beyond me. Go ahead. And I hope for the sake that that person has some talent so they can draw more people around. Because if they draw more people around, maybe some of those people will hop over to my channel too. Cool. Right? So, but I mean, I've been around a certain community. I won't say anything, but most of the guys that get propped up are flatline YouTubers. Most of the guys. And the egos of the guys that do a little bit better, it's like they're afraid to let anybody else come in who might be better than them and shine them up. So even if you can be shined up, they won't even let you. Like you have to bow to them. You have to go in a certain way. They almost have to put you down, which is not even beneficial to them overall. Like they should not want to put you down because that can hurt your content and hurt you drawing more people to the community. Right? They should want you to shine. You shining brings more people around. And once they realize, like strategy wise, that means it builds them up, right? When you bring more people around, because again, audience doesn't just stick to one channel. Now, most other YouTube areas, like most other communities, they know this really well. It's not just this one guy I talked to, but talked to a guy years ago. And I've heard this more than one group of people say this. But when you get to some areas in YouTube, egos can get in the way of building up the community. So what you do is you end up hurting your overall growth. So your audience flatlines. So I bet you a certain part of the tabletop role-playing game hobby that you guys know, they probably know there's been small growth. They've noticed it, and they're like, something's wrong with YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, you all the things you could do to grow your community and audience, you have not done. You haven't done it for a while. That's why you sort of hit a marker where you could potentially grow and have more people, but you're just not shining anybody else up, and you've hit your limit. So you need another person with talent to come in. And even say if that person has talent and you don't put them down and they come on and do streaming with you, let alone you're going to shine them up, you're going to get more people. But even in combination now with the right people on a certain panel can build up the community even more. So that guy could be shined up. He brings in more people. But even the combination of having a talented person on your panel, right, then can grow the community even more. Right. But if you have dead weight on your panel, if you have flatliners and stuff like that, you're toast on YouTube. So I just learned that over the years. And I watch certain, like, it's like he would, like one guy I knew for years, he's like, oh, we got a new guy here. He was a smaller channel. And I watched it. I watched exactly what he meant was this guy grew. And when he grew, you could notice all the other channels start getting more people. And so if you don't do that, if you only have flatline leeches, guys, and that's all you do, and now it's only like these 5 guys or 6 guys are the top YouTubers and no new top YouTubers coming in other than flatliners, you'll notice they hit like 8,000, 9,000, and they'll be there for a long time. They'll be around that number for quite a while because they're just not growing their community. They need more talented people to come around to first let that person as an individual shine. And then even in combination, doing panels, doing streams together, you can shine even more. So all that grows the community even more. If not, you start just noticing your numbers stay where it's really slow growth, right? Because you've hit the ceiling of rapid growth. You've done the angry, the rage bait. You've done the yes man content, as I call it sometimes, but you've hit your ceiling with most of that. So now you need something different. Now you need to have other people come in and shine like somebody new, right? And it can almost seem okay. Like there's certain guys that will come around and grow, but if they step out of your circle, you'll notice their growth doesn't benefit you. So you need people that are directly in your community that are going to panel with you, stream with you, and they're really in your circle. They're doing similar content, like in a certain way, right? But if you have a couple guys that come in and do some streams with you, could slightly benefit. But sometimes those guys won't grow a certain community, even if they interact with the YouTubers sometimes. Because if they're too far away, if their content is, say, World of Darkness, right? And you had those guys come around, say, the old school. World of Darkness guys are separate enough that if they hit growth, most likely they're not going to help the community much around most of the other old school guys grow. So they'll stay around their 8,000, some or just around 10,000. And that's going to be it. So, yeah. And that's why I always thought it was weird when I would see guys lie about me or hold me down. I'm like, God, I have talent for this. If you guys let me grow, that probably means that if I do successful without lies and I go on streams with you, that's I kept telling people for years, the more beneficial content is to not lie about me and cause hate. It's to have positive interactions with me. So I stream with you, I shine, but you don't get to get jealous by that, because if I shine, it allows the community to grow more, right? But if you kick me out of that circle and I start shining even slightly away from you, my audience doesn't go near you. So even if I'm bringing in new people, they're not going to you, right? So it's you can't be jealous of people that might have talent. And there's potentially sometimes you're going to just have to give in, even if you think you're fucking high and mighty. Some people might have more talent than you. I've never been concerned. People are like always like, man, he's going to grow and get more than you at one point. I'm like, I hope that YouTuber does. Like, won't you be like jealous? No, because if that guy does well, he brings more people around. So I don't see how that hurts me, and it can benefit me having more people look at my content. So why bother? There you go. That's my speech on YouTube. And understand the algorithm. I know things that I definitely know certain guys don't know. And a guy I watched for years who hates, well, man, threw me over a bridge. Regardless, I'm not the bad person again that they say that I am. So even though this guy threw me over a bridge or threw me under a bus, I still feel bad the guy is going through some hard times as far as his content. It's making him wary about the whole thing. I'm like, if I could talk, if I had a better relationship with him and talk to him, I could help him with the issues. I guarantee 100% I can help that guy, and people would notice an improvement. Like it would change the content that's not hitting for him. And I know why, because I checked out the content where he's like, he has a big channel, like 10,000 people. He'll have videos like say shorts in that they're like 1,000 or so views, and then he has like a short with like 30 views. And I'm like, I went and looked. I'm like, oh, I know exactly why that's happening. Like I could tell that guy how to fix it right away, instantly. I could change that for him. But I don't want to give all YouTube secrets away on just random shit. So I'd have to have a good relationship with you and then chat with you privately to help you. So if I have a good relationship with people, I don't mind helping them out. It would be stupid of them just to go blab out the secrets of the algorithm. That'd be no good for them. Just not benefit anybody. Keep that to a degree in your circle, right? But yeah, it took me a while. Algorithm is interesting because I've heard so many opinions about it, and now that I know the details, I know the opinions just do not line up with what the algorithm is. I actually heard somewhere, I thought it was true, that it wasn't going after certain content. I remember talking about that openly, and I was wrong, completely wrong. But I had heard it from what I thought were very credible people, and it's not that they weren't, but they really just they were for sure this is it. And the way the algorithm was acting is sort of, when I look back at it, it sort of makes sense. But now that I know the details about the algorithm, I'm like, oh. Again, you might say, well, Stephen, if you know the algorithm that well, why aren't you blowing up? It's just, it's not all algorithm. So blowing up is a mix of people looking for you, mixed with the algorithm, mixed with other things. And then, another thing is I'm a small YouTuber, so as Black Rose knows, I'll have some guys that will just show up and put like 10 or 11 dislikes on my videos and watch it for a few seconds. So that can slow some of the videos down. I mean, but if they're hot enough, they bust through that anyway, right? But yeah, that can hold somebody down. But again, it doesn't help out if I'm good for the community overall. Slowing me down just hurts. It hurts everyone, right? So it's like doing streams on me attack. So if I have something to give there, it's no good. I can't help you grow the community if you don't let me. If you spread lies about me, you don't let me be credible, which I am credible. It's a shame, right? Now, the audience that actually follows my stuff and likes my stuff, you guys all look past that crap, so you appreciate what I'm doing here, right? But gets memberships though, albeit randomly. Yeah, that goes to me, so no complaints. I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth there, Black Rose. I know that's all for me, so I really appreciate it. But yeah, at least one got the membership thing. Lucky him, he'll be able to watch, right? But if he doesn't sub, he can't even try to chat, right? If he doesn't sub, he can't even try to chat. So that's just how that works. I mean, he can watch the members, but and there's that other KSC guy, which I don't know. He might just be somebody random, period. But I mean, he's watched some of the stuff, so whatever. He can watch a member stuff. Have at it. I don't care. Any weird background noise, just remember it's early in the day, so it's like people out there like starting their engines up or something. I'm sorry if you hear some of that, but not completely all much I can do, but certain noises. I just hope they go away really quick. That's a guy out there starting up his motorcycle. So he zips off in a moment. So I hope that just doesn't last long, and then we're good. But yeah. So yeah, got like an hour to kill before I hop over to do the movie coverage. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Well, I call it Willy Wonka and the Conspiracy Theory. It's what I titled the stream tonight over on the Entertainment Channel. So anybody here can jump over and watch that, but I mean, it's about a movie. It's not going to be about tabletop role playing games, right? So just keep that in mind. And if you're not into the movie, I totally understand, or just don't want to talk about it. But yeah, I'm going to talk about it tonight. The Clockwork Orange chat that we had, Black Rose, I really love that. I mean, I know it was just me and you, but I love talking about movies. Like I enjoy that a lot. All right. Again, I did the recent video on there, Black Rose. If you get a chance to check that out, or anybody, I was saying it earlier. I talked about the He-Man bombing and went over why it bombed. And then there's one guy who's left a couple comments on there that was just, he goes through all these different steps. Step one, this is like, well, he's not like attacking me or the video. I think I actually liked the video. He actually liked it and all. So very happy about that. But yeah, Black Rose, that was the Clockwork Orange was just a fun conversation. And I like that I don't put the same rules on myself over there. Like, so over there, it's not like the tabletop role-playing game stuff. I'll say certain things over there that I normally wouldn't say here at all. Like at all. I just don't. It's freedom, right? It's a little bit more freedom. So it's just I warn people on that too. Star Wars movies. I never watched them, but I'm going to actually. That's some of the streams I'm doing is, and me and Black Rose had a talk about this already. I'm going to do the 80s three movies. I'm going to watch all three of them and then do a stream on those three. And then the next week, like that next Friday, because it's every Friday for the stream for the movies. The next week, I'm going to watch the 90s three movies. So even though I know that's part 1, 2, and 3, it's just I'm going to follow the order of actually watching the 80s movies first and then the 90s movies. I've never watched Star Wars. I ran the tabletop role playing game, and I could understand the tabletop role playing game, well enough to run it. Understood what the designer was intended. Did it really well, and learned a lot. Actually, learned quite a bit about Star Wars just through running the game, which was amazing. And I really appreciate running the game and learning about the game. And it made me appreciate Star Wars in a weird way. Just ironically, I never watched the movies. Sort of skimmed them, but never watched them. Saw that one too. Spot on. It's supposed to be decent, but people are hard to convince nowadays. Yeah, that was what I was saying. There was it's because people have overdone it. It's an overkill. It's like there's nothing wrong with, say, making a white character, like having a black actor play a white character, but if you just do it all the time, right, then people start rejecting it when you're doing it every time you're doing a TV show or a movie. If it's like happening so frequently, people say, okay, enough of that, right? We want certain things a certain way. You never seen Star Wars? Yeah, I know. Black Rose never seen Willy Wonka. He never seen Star Trek. So yeah, just life. Like I did gaming and got busy miles, but yeah, I never watched them. Star Wars should be watched ages 10 to 12. Oh, I totally get you. But I mean, the only way I could do streams on them is to watch them. I can't really do streams on them and not see the movies, right? So, and I've been asked to stream about them by several people. So I'm like, well, I have to watch them to be able to stream about them. But I get you. It's for younger people. And so I'll be very, I even said that. That's one part I was telling Black Rose. In the 90s version, there's a character that a lot of people didn't like. But I'm like, when I look back at it, I'm like, well, I sort of get why older adults that watch the movies in the 80s wouldn't like it, but the movies are for kids, even the 90s movies. And I said that. I actually acknowledge that. That was my common sense picked that up. I said, so I won't go into the movies expecting Star Wars to be this adult movie franchise. I'll go into it being very forgiving, right? Just, I get it. It's for kids, but it's the only way I can do streams on them. So just go in and be really forgiving on the characters. Just understand it's made for kids, not made for adults. And there's this weird character where I don't want to say too much, but even recently from talking about it, from what I hear is the weird character in the 90s was meant to be a bad guy, but that whole idea went south. And the idea of making him a bad guy became ridiculous at a certain point. And I think I talked about it here. I actually talked about it here. Somebody mentioned it. I was like, yeah, I've seen some stories where they've taken goofy characters and made them bad. I thought they did really well. Like I watched the anime, the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden. And there's a character in the Shippuden part of the series where he's sort of a goofball bad guy. But realistically, he's like one of the core bad guys. You just don't know that at first when you first encounter the guy. But they did a really good job on keeping that serious, like taking the goof and making him a credible, like not make it so goofy that you can't turn him into the bad guy you need him to be, right? Father, a friend got somehow hold of Star Wars New Hope trailer before VCR. It was a roll of film, and we watched it on projection screen. Here's what's funny. A friend of mine worked at I forget exactly where he was working at the time, but he's working for one of the big movie companies. And I don't think anybody really even heard of the movie at the time. But it's Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first movie. Now, I never got to see the other two movies early. But this one, the guy had it, like he had it. He's like, I got Lord of the Rings. He got the cartoon, he said. I said, cool, let's watch it. I haven't seen that in forever. Right? I haven't seen the entire thing. He's like, cool, let's watch it. We go to watch it, man. This is like a year and 2 months before it hits theaters. It's not the cartoon. We start watching. I'm like, that's not a fucking cartoon. He's like, yeah, I know. What the fuck is this? We start watching. What we don't realize is a year and 2 months before it comes out in theaters, we're watching Fellowship of the Ring. And we watched it with even parts they cut out later. We were amazed. I was like, this is fucking awesome. I'm like, when's this coming out? He's like, I didn't even know it was coming out. What happened in your Star Wars game? Who was the big bad? Well, instead of trying to copy the characters, I made my own guys. I can't remember certain names of my own campaign bad guys. I have to look at my notes. I had them buried. I just don't honestly know. I forget the exact guys I use personally. I made my own people. I just never copied the original characters. I never used those as the big bad in the story. Um, there you go. But you could do that because it was an expansion beyond, like it picks up where the Star Wars movies leaves off, and the idea is the game expands beyond the movies, and it makes it that you can do your own stuff. And what I do is I didn't know the characters that well from the movies, and I thought I wouldn't represent them that well. I've never even seen the movies, so I just made my own guys up, and the players were fine with that because the idea was, the movies were over. This is an extension, so I'm like, here's my bad guy, right? And my first bad guy wasn't even like a Sith. He was just like this corrupt merchant. I can't remember exactly his name, but I mean, I put away. I mean, I do have the notes on him, but a first guy was just a corrupt trades guy, and we were out as part of space where it's like what you call the gray zone. I talked about it during the stream. It's like an area where instead of being a specific place, you're far away from the actual authority. Even though you can encounter them there, you can encounter uh, some of the main plot, like sort of bad guy army, right? They're security guys, but it's a place where it's gray, and that's why you can have pirates there. And he was like this corrupt tradesman who was like sort of a hit of a pirates group, right? He was big hit honcho of the pirates, and that was the main guy they were dealing with for quite some time. That was my main bad guy for the first campaign, and I actually had him return because he actually lived, right? Got away, but yeah, I had a few bad guys that were just guys I made myself. That was it. That was Star Wars, and I just felt like I didn't want to do movie bad guys because I knew I wouldn't. I just didn't see them. I was like, guys, I didn't see the movies. Like they were okay with the way I ran it. They were completely fine with it. They thought I represented Star Wars really well, but that's because I read the notes for the game. So I was able to sort of get what Star Wars was giving me, like the game was giving me to work with. I just did what the designers give you the option to do. And that's all I did. So played it out really well. Why did you play Star Wars, the RPG there, Miles? And I ran it before the 90s, before I even knew about the movie. So I didn't know that I wouldn't have known the name of the new Sith guy or anything like that, right? Yeah, that's all I did. I thought it was just a better way to do it because, and even if I think I knew the movies, I purposely probably would have done the same thing anyway because it was just like, look, I don't want it to be not Star Wars. I want it to be Star Wars. I wanted to, because I had some Star Wars, fans that were playing the game. Now, you don't want them to feel like they weren't playing Star Wars, right? But there was a great gray zone where there were pirates and all this, and I decided to emphasize the trade, the trade lanes and all of that being very important in the first campaign. You should. You really should. It is very credible. If you like the 80s movies and you want to, and the 90s movies borrow greatly from the game. Now, I haven't even seen the 90s movies. I just know this. I just know this from research, right? Even without watching them, I know George Lucas himself. They're so impressed with the world building from the game. If you watch my stream, you'll know this. But they're so impressed with the world building that the world building sort of becomes core. Those were the days. Father of a friend got somehow hold Star Wars New Hope. Yeah, I hear you. I totally hear that. Again, my closest thing was that Lord of the Rings movie a year and 2 months out. That was amazing. It was only a few months later I finally see a trailer for it. I'm like, yeah, I seen that. Like, I can't believe I seen that. I was like, I just couldn't believe what we watched. He was shocked, and he thought he had the cartoon. I swear, I'm not lying to you. We thought we were going to watch the old Lord of the Rings cartoon movie because he was given a copy of Lord of the Rings, but he's like, is this like the original? They're like, yeah. So he's convinced up and down he has the cartoon. He's like, well, Steven's a nerd. I'll go watch this with him. And he wasn't a nerd. He's just a guy who works in the business, right? So I'm like, yeah, fuck, I'll watch it. Let's watch it together. So we got high. I don't smoke weed anymore, but we were getting high and planned to watch Lord of the Rings, the cartoon, because he had never seen it, and he thought it'd be interesting. The next thing you know, we're watching the movie. But yeah, back in the good old days, man. No, honestly, Miles, the game is actually pretty wild, but it goes back to a lot of the elements I've talked to you about, Miles. See, the old school gaming I keep telling you guys, like you about, Miles, here, a lot of games from 1974 right up to even close to 2010 are very similar in style. 5E is an extreme alternative away from most gaming, like of the era, like from like 1974 2010. Your friends might have a qualm because, and I'm just being real with you, if you're trying to do what the designers intend, those games do not have, say, perception checks. They're going to make you have to think your way through the game. It's the only way you can really play them properly anyway. And you're going to know this right away. So if you did Star Wars, even the version I did, the old version, even most of them, right? You have to do it in the old style, which is not exactly everything old school D&D, but it's that where there is a bigger expectation that you do a lot more thinking. It's the idea is old school gaming, even up to 2010, is they want you to embody a character in a world. And the game master is to bring that world to life. And then you got to get in. And a lot of things are going to be dice rolling can be secondary to what you do first. So there's a lot more what you say, what you do, rather than dice rolling your way through, right? No, I get what you're saying. But from what I hear now, people are very forgiving about the 90s movies, given the Disney travesty. Like, people are like, as much as I might have had my qualms with the 90s movies, I'll happily watch those now compared to what Disney did to the Star Wars movies. Lots of people tell me that. Like, they say their issues with the 90s movies are completely gone. They still, like, a lot of people still don't like a specific character from the 90s movies, and I forget his name. You all probably know who I'm talking about. He's the goofy guy, the goofy character. I think he's like in like computer imagery type of character. I guess that character again was meant to become evil, but he was so goofy, and they thought it wouldn't work, so they totally went south on that and just kept him as a goofy character. But he was made for the younger generation, right? As I think Philo was pointing out, like, it's made for young people. So it's like, yeah, the sequels are a dumpster fire. Again, here's where I'd say this, Black Rose, from what when I was reading up on this stuff, young people actually like the 90s movies. So if you actually go to not the guys who watch it in the 80s, but if you go to like the 10, 11, 12-year-olds of the time in the 90s, they actually like the movies, and they actually like that goofy character. Do you know about the Sith Lord Jar Jar Binks theory? Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He was supposedly, from what I hear, and George Lucas sort of gives it away, I think, in an interview, where he pretty much outright admits it. Like, there was an aim, there was a consideration to make him a Sith, but he was so goofy, and then the kids like him. That's a lot of, see, the older guys that watch the 80s movies, they didn't like him. But if you actually look at the audience reaction to the actual 90s movies, kids did like him and they liked him a lot. Like actually he actually sold well with the young people. But because he sold so well, they decided not to do the Sith Lord gimmick with him. Right? So imagine you're doing something that might be interesting to the older audience, but you forget you have a younger audience watching the 90s movies. So you have like your 10, 11, and 12-year-olds, and they love the character, and a lot of young people love those movies. So even though if you get to the adult group, they have their criticism. To the younger group, they don't. At the time, anyway. Right. So those movies were hot as far as they had a big audience, and the young crowd that watched the 90s 3 movies, which were supposed to be part 1, 2, and 3, but like made later. The young people actually like those movies, ironically. So even though the criticism of the old movies are quite well known, from what I hear, it's like, oh, they're fucking liked anyway. But yeah, I don't know the whole theory. If you know a lot about it, Philo, I don't know exactly, but I heard they were supposed to make him a bad guy, but the kids liked him so much. Like he was so goofy and so appealing to the kids that he became a toy. He became something the kids like. So they're like, oh yeah, okay. And they kept him as the goofy character. Now I don't know for sure, but from what I hear in an interview, George Lucas pretty much almost gives it away that they were going to do this Sith Lord gimmick with him, right? What I loved about Star Wars as an 11-year-old was it was knights, it had Western aura, spaceships, aliens, it had good hero journeys. Yeah, the 90s was just, it was weird. So imagine you're making movies for the audience in the 80s, but you forget about the kid audience and you don't make the same proper hero journey thing. There's from I seen some clips. There's some cool shit with the movies, but it wasn't Luke Skywalker. I get the 80s. I get the 80s appeal. The hero, the build up, the advancement. Reminds me of some things I've seen. I was an anime guy. I like Bleach, and the anime Bleach had the main character Ichigo in that one, where he sort of has his hero thing, where it would remind you of Luke Skywalker. Starts off as a nobody and builds up to a very credible character at one point, right? That's the Disney gimmick. Trying to appeal to an audience that it wasn't going to work for. I think they made the same mistake the 90s people made, which is Star Wars is still going to appeal to kids. And so I think kids didn't like the Disney movies. And I think the old audience didn't like the Disney movies. And then, let's be honest, when it comes to the female watching audience, it's very small. So it's like if you lean mostly towards them and they're not a big part of especially not just the female audience, but a specific part of the female audience, it's just too small. It's too small to hold movies up, right? Was the Jedi and the Sith? Give me more Rebels, the Empire. For story, especially for tabletop role playing game models, I mean, definitely. For story overall and movies, yeah, probably. I love Star Trek. I love Star Trek Next Generation. It's probably my favorite, but I love 2 different series, which I love Star Trek Next Generation. I love Deep Space Nine. Though if even though I like TNG more, the Next Generation, if I had to do my own, if I was doing a personal role playing game, just like the Rebels, what you're talking about there, so in that way, I'd use them for more like a game. I'd use Deep Space Nine, right, for the tabletop role playing game before I'd use the Next Generation. Lightsabers. Mike likes the lightsabers. I totally hear you. Some of the cool stuff. I did see the clip, the first movie of the 90s, where they have it's the guy who's going to become Vader and the other guy fighting that sort of Lord Sith or whatever Sith character. Right, that fight actually looks really good. Like that first fight where you see the two of them fighting that guy, that was quite incredible. He has the big staff thing with the two lightsaber things coming off at the end. That fight is fucking awesome looking. Yeah, I don't care if you like Star Wars or not. I think just that combat sequence was fucking good, like really good. I've heard so much. I haven't watched Andor yet. That's been pushed on me and pushed on me and pushed on me. Watch Andor. It's really good. Watch Andor. It's really good. Well, I'm definitely going to, but I get so like I watching the movies, doing the streams and working. It's just squeezing in time. Right now, I'm doing the update on my Neo TTRPG system with a lot of my free time, so it's really hard to dig into the Andor right now. I don't want to start it and then want to keep watching it, and then it gets in the way of other work I got to do. So I got to get the Neo TTRPG system updated, and then the first thing I'm going to invest in is most likely Andor, because I've been told by like several people offline have told me about it. Several people here in chat over some of the streams have told me about it. But like Lifesavers with Mike there, I do like the fighting. I do love that stuff. I think it's fucking great. And no matter what you think of the 90s movies, that's one area where they definitely advance from what I've been told. No matter what you think of them, the fighting and combat with the lightsabers is really highly advanced in the 90s movies, right? And the Disney movies were called out because they were considered weak when you go back to the 90s movies, not even so much the 80s, but if you go back to the 90s movies, the choreographed fights and that with the lightsabers is considered to be so good that even if you're not a biggest fan of the 90s movies, that was the one appealing part, was the fucking choreographed fighting with the lightsabers was fucking beautiful. And you see a drop off in quality. If you watch those and then watch the Disney stuff, you're like, from what I've been told, it's like, the fuck is this, right? All right, Miles, you take care of yourself. Have a good night there, my friend. Thank you for popping by. I appreciate that. And tomorrow is Fudge for Saturday, and then it's Metamorphosis Alpha for Sunday I'm covering. Nope. I didn't do the D21. I did just the D6 one. That was it. And the reason, Philo, I'll be honest with you, I've told people this before. I didn't have I played a lot of games, but the reason I was able to do that, I couldn't afford to go out and buy all these games. Even I get what you're saying. If I had the option, I would have tried some other ones. But the reason I was able to even get my hands on certain some of the games is I came from a gaming community where some of the old guys were there since like 74. And some of them were war gamers, but that meant I would borrow the games from them and get them printed out. That's how I was able to run all these different games. Like not in all cases, like some cases I get the games myself, but in most cases it was printing and borrowing material. Right, borrow the material and print. That's how I did that. That's how I was able to get away with running a ton of games and having it not cost me an arm and a leg. And I just, as a young guy, just didn't have. I started DMing in 1990, or in general game mastering in 1991. Right, so that's how I got away with that. I have the D6 West Endgames first edition pre-Wild Die. I stole the Wild Die rule. Right, I did use the Wild Die rule. I read about it when it was forums. When I was reading up the game, prepping for the campaign, never came to start. I did steal I knew about the Wild Die rule. I just didn't get the material. I learned about the Wild Die rule, so I actually used that. I got lucky enough to actually learn that and use that on purpose in the first edition, but I only ran the first edition. Right, but it's just lucky as the first edition came out before I started doing that. So by the time I get into running it, the Wild Die is already a thing. So, I mean, I can't remember exactly the whole thing with that, but I actually found out about the Wild Die. I was like, yeah, I'm using that. Okay. But I like the D6 system. I had gotten used to it with Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters was my first original introduction to the D6 dice. It's the first time I ran using the D6. And I love the Ghostbusters game. It's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun, to be honest. I know I talked about it recently. It sounds like a corny thing, but it's not. It really isn't. It makes Ghostbusters actually, I think, more interesting than the actual movie, a game. I love the movies. Don't get me wrong, but when I actually ran the game was fucking wildly interesting. Like it was just a very interesting take on the Ghostbusters, and it played out well too. Uh, but that was my first introduction to D6 was Ghostbusters. Good stuff. Yeah, yeah. It definitely improved with that. I heard they use a new version of the D6 now, but it's just to tell you, at least the D6 system is so popular, it's still being used today. I think it was Monkey that told me about. Maybe it was Monkey that told me there's still a D6 and a new game coming out with D6 using it. Right? I'm like, well, that's fucking wild. That just tells you that that system is still somewhat popular. They're still kicking that around, right? So many clones of the D20 stuff that it's like it almost surprises me when I hear it. It's like, oh, that's not D20. That's good. I just never had a problem. People are like, I always hear this type of stuff like, I prefer this type of dice roll. I prefer this type of dice roll. I'm just like, I don't have a preference, man. I'm not worried about how the dice roll. I'm worried about my experience in the game. I just don't give a shit. As long as the dice work, I don't give a fuck. I just there's things that I find that are unnecessary to be picky about. It's like the rolling the dice matters. No, it doesn't. You playing your character, me being inside of your mind and the imagination, that's what to me matters the most, right? I just don't care about those things. It's just not a big issue to me. I don't give a fuck about dice rolling. Like once I get into your hit all, that's just over. You could tell me what you think is better gaming. It's once I'm in your mind, that's it, right? Hey, your first time catching the stream live. Played a lot of classic Star Wars, including the big published Dark Strider campaign from the mid '90s. I didn't do that one. That's fucking awesome, and that's great. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Yeah, doing a random another half an hour. I'm gonna be doing this, just sort of randomly talking. I never came here with a topic, so we're just randomly discussing whatever the guys bring up. Right? I did something like Philo is talking about. Philo did it without the wild die, but I ran the first edition D6 Star Wars, and I made up my own thing, and I played in the gray area instead of playing anywhere near certain areas, right? And if you ask me if I used any of the main characters from the show or the movies, no, but I did use Pirates was my first campaign. I made my bad guy a sort of corrupted merchant. Movies and Bear. Yeah, at half an hour, I'll be jumping over to my movies channel to cover Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but the conspiracies around that and Snowpiercer related, like that fan theory. So I'm going to be jumping over there and talking about that. I do have a second channel, as you probably have seen. At least I've been sharing that out, where I cover movies. I'm a little bit free about what I talk about over there compared to here. Like over here, I don't talk about certain subjects. Over there, I just warn people. Over there, if a movie aims towards a certain topic, I'm not afraid to talk about it, right? But over here, I won't. No, the Oompa Loompas, which is another controversial thing. We'll get into the Oompa Loompas. No, to be honest, I never focused. It was more focus on travel with the ships and a little bit of combat, but I never did the expansion stuff that you're talking about there, Philo. I do know about it, but I actually heard about that stuff, but no. I looked at the list of future streams. A lot of interesting games. We'll be able to catch the Unknown Army stream. That's a conspiracy theory game. And the Tribe 8 that follows that is another conspiracy theory game. So if you like the Unknown Armies because it's conspiracy theory, Tribe 8 is purposely, it's going to be a theme weekend. Now, if you like conspiracy theories, there's another game you've probably seen that I've already covered, Paranoia. One of my favorite games to run, but one of the most stressful games for players to play. Right? It's hard to get multiple campaigns out of that because even though the guys loved the campaign originally, they weren't turned off because I ran it poorly. They were turned. They were just like, man, that's so stressful to go through that they didn't want to go through it again. So if you get a good game master running Paranoia, it's a stressful hit fuck game, right? I I don't know. I thought I sort of took him off the thing so I could see him, but he must be blocked on something else. But yeah. There you go. So yeah, Paranoia. If you like conspiracy theory, I've already done Paranoia, and I like conspiracy theory. I knew this was a good time to cover them, right? If if you're just interested in it, DK, you should definitely check out the stream on it. It is really a fucking interesting game, and I cover all the meat on the bone on that one. You know how I do this stuff. Uh, the Unknown Armies. Whoo, that's a good one. And I don't want to oversell that right now. Now there's a lot of good stuff on that, but the Tribe 8 one, if you're actually into conspiracy theory, that's one of your reasons for liking that game. If you can follow up on the Sunday too, it's going to be Saturday for the Unknown Armies, and then Tribe 8 on Sunday. Philo, and I'm not bragging, but I run it really, really well. I'm excellent at doing the friend computer thing. Oh man, I love the fuck with people's heads. So it's not in a bad way. I enjoyed it, not in a devious way. I just enjoyed it. Blocked by divine intervention. I don't know. I unblocked so I could you can somewhat see the guy, but maybe I'll figure that out later. No, I don't think. No offense from Black Rose. He's always the sweetest guy around. So yeah, you do need a special GM, but I mean, you know how it is. The guys loved it. That was the thing. So I never had any complaints. The guys fucking loved it, but they said it's just really fucking stressful, like to go through more than once, right? Might check it out. Did see Over the Edge mentioned somewhere on the future things. Over the Edge, no, I don't think so. Let me go through and just do some checks on the future things. On the future things, just so I can verify. Like I know about the Tribe 8. I got Fudge, and Fudge is Saturday, and then Metamorphosis Alpha, which is good. Good stuff. But let's see, just to verify. So tomorrow is Fudge. Next day is Metamorphosis Alpha. Then you know my normal off script is Tuesday. Thursday I'll be covering the Temple of Elemental Evil. Didn't run it, but I did play in that one. The next Saturday on the 20th will be Prince Valiant RPG. And then Deadlands, the game that inspired Savage Worlds, is the setting that Savage Worlds use. That will be on the 21st. And then members only will be on the 24th. So if you're a member, you can come check out Hollow Earth Expedition. The next old school D&D stream will be on the 25th. It will be historical reference series, which is like covering Rome, like the real world, stuff they did. And then Beyond Unknown Armies and Tribe 8. I don't have any other games scheduled right now. Close to the end of June, you'll get I'll schedule every episode of July, because I do my thing in a rhythm. I'm quite comfortable with it, so I don't mind. I literally plan a month now. Like when I do it, I just do the whole month. That's it. So one game I am going to be covering, because Bill Scher's been asking me about that, which is Bunnies and Burrows, because he's been wanting to see that or hear about that game. And Craig had mentioned it all the time, so I'm like, I decided to put that on the schedule for July. Sorry, guys, give me a second. Just let me see if you're saying more stuff. I'll check this out. Cthulhu is very fun. We ran it mostly as a one shot. It was the 80s horror movies. Everyone dies. I got that covered. Call of Cthulhu was fun. I agree. Very fun game. Call of Cthulhu is a good thing. Well, I guess I can see, for whatever reason, I can see the young fellow over here. So let's see what he's been saying. A game. Yes, Call of Cthulhu is very, 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 very good. Agreed. Agreed on this stuff. Cool. Bunnies and Burrows was a GURPS setting, right? Over the Edge, something in that vein. Depends. There's sort of a version out there. There's a really old version too. I'll cover the whole 9 yards. Cool. Bunnies and Burrows was a GURPS setting. Over the Edge and Ars Magica were my two big games in the 90s. We covered Ars Magica. If you ask me a lot about that right now, I haven't ran that in decades, so it's just top of my head. I wouldn't remember all the details, but I played that one. I never ran it. So I can remember a bit about playing it. I got all my notes done on it, so that's all good. I'd have to look over that one again. Over the Edge? No, I didn't do Over the Edge. And that's one of, see, I like, people are like, he says he ran or played every game. Nope. That's one of the ones I didn't do. Monkey, that comes here quite often, he posts a lot of shitload of old school games, and there's just so many that he'll post up that I'm just like, yeah, I never touch those. So as much as people want to say like he's claiming to have played or ran every game, I'm like, no, that's not true. Mostly the popular ones. A gem that I did run that's challenging to run, and it's quite funny that it's challenging to run because it's mostly social interaction, which is Castle Falkenstein. Like that, man, that is to keep that on track is very challenging, and you have to have, that's one of the rare games where most games players can just go in and trip over themselves and learn. Not so bad, right? It doesn't put a lot of heat on you. Just learn as you play the game, right? So you can trip up and do most games, like even Bushido. Bushido, you just learn through gameplay. Where Castle Falkenstein is one of the rare games where it's not just a heat on the game master. It's not like hard like Paranoia. Paranoia actually wasn't hard for me, but I do agree with what Philo said. You have to have someone talented running for it to actually work. But I was made for that game, I would say. Castle Falkenstein is more like keeping on track the whole time, and you got to. It's one of the rare games where you put heat on the players. Like players have to play into the certain character, and you got to keep track of not letting them go to the way they talk, because, like I've told people, there's a lot of games out there that say that's storytelling. I'm like, bullshit. No, it's not. Most games are story emerges, right? Oh, well, in DK, you're going to know what I'm talking about here if you did it right. Most people took our games and didn't do them right. So I've gotten on people in the past where they're like, I did Cyberpunk, and I watch them do Cyberpunk. I'm like, that's you're playing the game, I guess, but you're not doing Cyberpunk the way the designer intends, right? Most people tell me this is a story game, this is a story game. And I'm like, no, even World of Darkness is story emerges. You're playing a game and story emerges. There's only 2 games that I've covered so far where I would honestly say they are storytelling games. And what I mean, DK, is this, because I think the other guys have heard me say this. When I say storytelling, I mean the game from the get-go intends for you to tell a story, and you're actually trying to tell a story, not just a story emerges. You're purposely trying to tell a story from the moment you start the game, which is Pendragon. With the way it's set up, you're purposely from the get-go trying to tell a story, not just story emerges. You're purposely doing things to tell a story about a character through generations. Castle Falkenstein is one where you're trying to tell a story. You're trying to do a Victorian romance novel. And so players, they have to, even if they don't do accents, they have to speak it at the very least, like the characters. And if they get too casual, if you do it by the way the designer intends, I'm not saying play games however you want. So when I say somebody's not doing Cyberpunk, it's meant to be by the designer. I don't care how people play. I'm not one of these guys to say, Well, if you don't play it that way, you're not playing D&D or something. I'm not one of these fucking stiff fucks, right? But I'm just saying, as far as the way, sorry about the cursing, but the way the designers intend, if you look at what the Castle Frankenstein intends to the designer, you are to keep players on track throughout a session. And so you got to, if you don't want a headache with that, if you're doing it as intended, you want to get players that want to keep in track, like want to keep the dialogue proper and not casually flake on you too often. And if they do flake, it tells you to put them in check and get the dialogue back to where it's meant to be. And then you got to stay in that dialogue lane the entire session, every session. Right. So you got to constantly. So if you got good players, it's not too bad. Right. But it can be very challenging because even good players can sometimes just accidentally flake, get too casual. It's like, nope, you got to go back in line, dude. Right. If you're doing it the way, because the designer actually wants you to be really hard on the dialogue because you are storytelling. Like a novelist, right? You are purposely trying to do a Victorian romance novel. So the idea that the players stay in character through talk is deeply important to the designer of the game. That's what the intent is. I seen a lot of people in the past try to do Castle Frankenstein, not do it right. As far as designer intents, it's like Cyberpunk. The only time I don't have a problem with people not playing a game in a certain way. The only time I have an issue with it personally is when, like, I've seen guys do Cyberpunk. The game master clearly does not know what the designer wants, right? So he's just running it almost like Traveler with the theme, right? With the theme of Cyberpunk. And players walk away from it going, that's really generic. I'm like, well, it would only bother me because I think Cyberpunk is an excellent game, right? So I'm like, it's not generic. It's actually really good. But you had a game master not push a certain thing, right? Yep, the playing cards. But yeah, some people just don't make a big fuss out of running it a certain way, but the designer does. So I purposely kept people on track with socializing. Cyberpunk, the big secret is, and they don't explain it well in the write up for Cyberpunk. They should explain it better, but it's explained better in like Villains and Vigilantes and DC Heroes, which is spotlighting. See, a normal traveler, players can just play the characters the way they want. In Cyberpunk, there's an intent that in 70 to 80% of the scenes, the players play the characters exactly, have a reason to too. So they go into a scene and there'll be a reason for them to play to who their character is in the scene. Right. Now, imagine you have like 5 players and they have 5 different characters. So you have to have one scene that is going to create 5 different situations where the players can all play to their characters in one scene. Right. There's a reason for each character to play their different character in the scene. That can sound like a bit of a headache, but if you get used to the concept of spotlighting from like Villains and Vigilantes or DC Heroes, you realize that's what you're being asked to do. But you're asked to do it quite often. 70 to 80% of the scenes should be spotlighting with Cyberpunk. Right. If you do it well, you do it well. But it's because the designer wants you to really feel Cyberpunk. And I agree with the designer. If you actually do what he wants you to do, you do get the feel. So it's like they game test before they put that stuff out back in the old school. A lot of them do properly. So when they put something out to you and they're telling you how to run it, it's not that you have to. I'm not one of these stickler guys. I only hate it though when a player tells me that's a generic game, and I'm like, it's how you experience it because your game master didn't run it the way the designer wanted. But I would tell that player, if your game master ran it the way it was intended, you would not be telling me it's a generic game. Right? That'd be my only fuss. In the same way, I've heard some people say Castle Frankenstein was like, oh, we played with cards. I guess it was interesting. I'm like, yeah, I watched some, but your guy did not have you stay in proper dialogue. I'm not saying, I'm just saying guys I've talked to where they're like, I'm like, I'm not expecting it to be the hottest game in the world, but the guys went into it wanting to do social interaction and do like have a unique experience. And it's like the game master just did not put the heat on them to do that. So I'm like, well, in a way, you don't know. You don't know, right? But it does stick out with the card thing. I like the initiative system. When we talk about cards, I like the initiative system from the Deadlands to Savage World thing with the cards. I like that because I like the idea of initiative where you hold on to the card that you've drawn. You don't have to worry about having a tie card, right? You'll never have the same card that will be equal. And what makes it a lot easier is everyone holds on to their card so they know their position. Like they know when their turn is for sure. And it makes it easier as a game master for you to know when their turn is for sure, right? Because everyone has their cards, so you'll know what order, so you don't got to remember, you don't got to write it down. They just draw a card, and it's drawn every new round, so it's always changing up. It becomes dynamic that way, and you get rid of that whole speed factor stuff. It's more simplistic in the initiative, right? I don't know about that either. Castle Wolfenstein. But I like Castle Falkenstein. It's just a gem, and I'm glad DK. Not many. I'm glad it's cool that you got to try it because most people I talk to don't even know what it is. So when I did the coverage on that, I was quite happy to do the coverage because it was like that's a gem. So the fact that you get to try it is pretty cool because there's a lot of people out there that didn't try it, right? A lot of people out there, surprisingly, which makes it me a little sad that I covered Bushido, and a lot of people didn't know Bushido. It's like Bushido should not be a gem. Bushido's fucking awesome. But old school games aren't these heavy combat games, so you really have to go and enjoy certain aspects of the game, right? Like Bushido is heavy, just like the Pedal Throne game. It's really heavy on the social atmosphere, the social rules. But in games like that, it's not so hard. It's not like Castle Funkenstein. It's just it's okay for you to fuck up in Bushido. It's okay for me to not tell you the rules. Like, here's your characters. You walk in. You're like, okay, you guys are peasants. We're gonna walk up to that guy who's like standing like really high and mighty and just like say whatever we want to him. Like, okay, you can try. See how that works out for you. And the game has it's a perfect set of consequences. You can get yourself in so much shit for saying the wrong things to the wrong people, right? Okay. So Black Rose and anybody else who ends up following me over, I'm having one more of these, and then we're going to jump over to the other stream. Thank you everyone so far for joining in our little chat. I was thought it'd be nice. I wasn't sure if anybody would end up being around. Really happy with DK being able to pop in on one of these. Really honestly happy. I appreciate you stopping by where you could. And just to let everyone know, tomorrow night is covering Fudge, and then Sunday is Metamorphosis Alpha. Right? Very good games. Very good games. Metamorphosis Alpha is a very interesting one. Fudge is like it's in the GURPS family as far as gameplay and skills, like the makeup of the game. And its tune, ironically, is similar to Fudge. Now, I covered the game Toon, which is like a Warner Brothers cartoon type of game, which the Toon game is a lot of fun. Oh my fuck, it's a lot of fun. Like if you like to have a few drinks, like I mean, as first off, it's a great family game. So it's a great game to play with your kids, like if you have family. But it's a great game if you have adults and you got some booze and some beers. You can, fuck man, the game can cover both adults and the family, right? Which I went to in the mid '90s, so his games ended up being played a lot afterwards. Mike Pondsmith, wonderful fucking designer, wonderful fucking designer. Had a fucking super mind for gaming. I think he was extremely influenced by Traveller because Cyberpunk is Traveller with his over layer of the cyberpunk, like the setting for cyberpunk. It's Traveler. It's like when you go play it, you're like, it's Traveler. It's just Traveler with his theme on it, right? So I know he's a Traveler guy. Didn't even have to ask if he was his big Traveler game. A Cyberpunk is Traveler and Falcon Sea. So I knew that instinctively when I went and tried Cyberpunk. I was like, yep, that's when I first heard the name, because most back in the old school, we talk about stuff on the internet now. Most people didn't know who anybody was. Like in the real old school era when I started in, you go mention like Dave Arneson's name to most people in the hobby. They'd be like, who's that? So even though the internet world thinks that was like common talk, it wasn't. Most people in the hobby didn't know. I mean, I swear to fuck, I mentioned, like, I knew people that'd be like, you had to tell them who Gary Gygax was. Gary Gygax made D&D. Who? Gary Gygax. You mean made this game? His name's the fucking thing. I mean, that's just how fucking mindless people were about the topics. It just wasn't this big discussion piece that we have now, right? It just wasn't as serious back in the day. Now, guys from the real old school era, probably even you, DK, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. Outside of going to a convention or something, if you talk to most people back in the old school, mention a designer's name, most of them wouldn't know what the fuck you're talking about. Go like, hey, Mike Pond Smith, he's really great. He did Cyberpunk and all these games. And you're like, guys wouldn't know who the fuck he is at all. Even the Tunnels and Trolls guy, which is a guy who was very quiet. I still like his game, ironically. That was one game I told Black Rose. I actually thought it was really easy, and it was sort of like an easy sort of freestyle version of D&D. It was one of the systems me and a few other game masters used to test out ideas that we would use in Dungeons and Dragons later. So we did a lot of testing, a lot of just trying out new rules with that game. And the simplicity means you won't be using as much, but in a way, it means you get used to using certain things. Like, it's actually a great way to play on your creativity. It's a weird thing because you can add so much to it. It's way more simple, right? And surprisingly, one of the few games that should never have competed the way it did, but it did. Imagine old school D&D is considered easy now as far as rules. Imagine a guy at the time reading the original Dungeons and Dragons and going, that's too advanced. Like, we look at the rules now and we're like, that's not advanced at all. It's simple. But to the Tunnels and Trolls guy back in the day, when he first read that game, he was like, oh, this is too hard. Okay, Tunnels and Trolls. Ed, I don't know, DK, if you got a chance to check out the other night, Mysteria. I covered that setting. That was really fun. Has anyone tried solo games? I got in For the Dark. Personally, I have not done the solo gaming. Oh, I love solo guys because I have a lot of solo guys that will be in my audience that watch this stuff. But the reason my only take on them is I always see them as a separate thing from, like, I think they're in the same sport, they're in the same league. I just don't count them exactly like tabletop role-playing games. I think they're solo games and then tabletop role-playing games, because I think they're separate. Because to me, for a tabletop role-playing game to be what it is, the qualifier is you have multiple players, you have at least a player, and you have a game master. Solo games, I sort of put in the same division as I put into the novels, where you read the book and you can pick the page you want. It's like, oh, okay, I'll do this page, whatever. That's, to me, that solo gaming has its own little world. And that's one area, that's one thing where all the AI talk and the controversy around the AI talk, I'm like, well, that's one group of people that the use of AI for helping them game should not be controversial at all. And I've noticed a lot of people are really forgiving with the talk around AI game mastering for solo people. So I'm like, that makes sense, man. I can't, like, if people are going to bitchy about that, I'd be like, I'm confused. It's AI is fucking mint and made to be able to be an engine for solo gaming. A great engine for solo gaming. I've never done solo gaming. I have no interest ever doing solo gaming. And I have so many, like I have in real life and online, I have people offering me to play games all the time. I just don't. But I have them offered to me all the time. After I finish Neo TTRPG System and then doing Andor a little bit, I'm going to do some Warhammer. That's my plan in real life. Do some Warhammer campaign. So I've been invited to a Warhammer campaign for when I'm done. So sometime close to the end of the year, I'm going to start a small Warhammer campaign. I'll tell you more about that Black Rose as I find out more details. But Warhammer campaign. And not a Warhammer TTRPG campaign, but a Warhammer war game, like proper war campaign. So there's been a few people that want me to come back and do that. They want me to play the Imperial Guard again. So I'm like, fucking fine. All right, whatever. I'll do it. I haven't done wargaming in forever. And I did that bit of coverage on the Warhammer stuff, and it just got me hot over it. So I was like, now I want to do some wargaming. Not right away, but it's just I got so many little projects I got to get completed out of the way first. I want to watch some of the Andor stuff, so I told them be like the end of the year I would do some Warhammer stuff. My life is so busy. So busy. I'll be done my World of Darkness campaign by the end of September. I think I'll have that completed. Yeah, that's they're talking about that, but it's mainly they want me to play the Imperial Guard again because they still have the Imperial Guard army. Like it's still available for me to actually, and they got some new pieces for me, so they want me to. They said, "Are you still cool with doing the Imperial Guard army again?" Like, I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Well, we can get an army for you." I was like, "Good." So I get to play without it costing me an arm and a leg. So I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll do it." I told them I did some coverage on it. I was talking with the Imperial Guard, and they were like, "Why do you want to play it?" I was like, "Well, that's what I told the guys." They're like, "When do you want to play?" I said, "I can't do it now, man. I'm too busy." What like they said, "What about the end of the year?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe somewhere like around like mid-November and do a campaign probably right up to the end of December, right?" So do like a short run campaign type of thing. Not a short run, but just a campaign with them. Or actually show up and do a few weeks of it, right? And see how it goes. And if I want to keep playing, I'll keep playing into the next year. But we'll see. We'll see. It's so hard for me to fit any of this in. Even as I get the World of Darkness done, I got to decide on my next campaign at the end of September for tabletop role playing. I'll still have my second edition game going on. That will go on until the next year. But I'm deciding what I want to do. Like I told the guys, I might want to do a few short runs, right? Like do some games. Like we're talking about Bushido. I'm thinking about doing Bushido, but recently talking about Mysteria. Definitely something I'm considering doing. I don't know. I'm a super fucking nerd. I talk about this stuff and I want to do everything. I just want to do everything. I can't do everything because I'm so fucking busy with YouTube and working and life and to be able to even watch the movies. I can sort of do that. The movies aren't so bad, but like a TV show like Andor, that is very challenging to fit in. So I keep getting people advising me to watch it, but I'm like, guys, I want to, but if you understand how busy I am, it's really hard for me to actually schedule that. And at this point, my life is on a schedule. Actually, I have to schedule everything I do. If people want to talk to me at a certain time now, but the next few weeks I'll be a little bit more free getting some stuff done. But it's like, well, I'm almost racked up my head of what that's going to mean, so I almost know what's going to be going down. I've been doing some of these extra sort of freehand streams, which is amazing. I even have the time to do so. Very happy, and I hope everyone's happy that I'm squeezed notice. If I get some free time, I'm giving it to people here and coming to shoot the shit, and chat's getting to chat a bit about stuff. I hope you guys are all excited about the upcoming streams. But Art Black Rose, I'll see you over there. And anybody else who wants to jump over to the other movie coverage, I love everyone. Take care. Most likely talk to one or two of you soon.